Good morning, everyone. Welcome to episode number 51 of the Project 2020 show. It is day number 2 of week number 17. On the release schedule for today, we have F. dropping his Derek Jeter and Andrew Thiel releasing Ted Williams. In the news category, though, we just had our lowest 24-hour reservation total in the past 6 weeks, and I need to correct the record. I made a mistake on the show yesterday, but we'll get to all that in one quick second. Welcome back to my channel, and thank you for clicking on that thumbnail. My name is Chris, and if you want to connect with me outside of this video, I'm on Twitter and Instagram at CRT_sportscards, and also the website is CRTsportscards.com. But welcome to Tuesday. We are at another level with these cards. We have Derek Jeter, designed by F. and we have Ted Williams, designed by Andrew Thiel. Just when we think we have this set figured out and we know what the artists are going to do, they go over us. And to me, on this Ted Williams, this is way over my head. We're going to try to dissect it here in a second, but this Derek Jeter is a great card from F. This is a hero of his growing up, so it's great to see this card come out. At the same time, there are some cool giveaways with this Derek Jeter, but let's dive into that Andrew Thiel, Ted Williams right now. So here is card 158, Ted Williams by Andrew Thiel. It looks like a head of a chess piece. Maybe there's a throw in here to what happened to Ted Williams after he passed away. You have the greatest hitter, you've got Fenway, you have the Plains from the previous card we talked about with Don C. There is a lot going on here. There's also a lot going on that I do not understand. So it's going to be great to read social media, see what Andrew Thiel puts out. This is a very real meta piece here. We really have to dissect this in the near future. But taking a look at Andrew Thiel overall, this is now his 9th card at the moment. We have Willie Mays, Mike Trout, Sandy Koufax, Nolan Ryan, Derek Jeter, McGuire, Mattingly, and recently with Roberto Clemente. When you think of his highest printed card, it's going to be that Derek Jeter at 20,974, and his lowest is that Willie Mays, his first card, at just 1,464. But let's take a look quickly at Ted Williams. We just had him last week, but this is his 8th card overall. We had JK5, Fucci, Ermsey, F. Old Man Allen, Tyson Beck, and recently with the Don C. From a print run perspective, that Old Man Allen is his number 1 card, 41,407, and his lowest printed card is the Fucci at 1,131. So when it comes to the favorites, when you think of Andrew Thiel, I don't really have a favorite Andrew Thiel card. The cards to me are very, very busy. I like my cards simplistic, and I understand Grotesque has the figure holding up the photo on his cards, but to me, those cards really speak to me in a different kind of way. But I don't really have a favorite Andrew Thiel. But now on Ted Williams, I've said it a few times, the Tyson Beck for me is the number 1 card at the moment. That card is just stunning. I know it's going to be difficult to top that with Grotesque and Natural here soon, but I just absolutely love that Tyson Beck. So now taking a look at the first and second player card prices in the market for Project 2020 yesterday. If you're a first player card, you mainly moved down, and if you're a second player card, you mainly moved up. Now, there were cards that did the opposite in the same group, but when you take a look at the charts overall, it was interesting to see first player move down and second player move up. But let's take a look at those charts real quick. So on first player pricing, good to see Ichiro up over $1,600 with 2 sales yesterday. Jackie Robinson, Natural up to $490. Griffey, King Saladin, $480. But then there were some misses. Mariano Rivera by Sophia Chang down 16%. And then Tony Gwynn, Old Man Allen, down 10%. There are 2 cards on here that I want to call your attention to, and the first one is the Ricky Henderson by Joshua Videz. You can see on 630 to 76, that card spiked to 474, then it was down to 378, and now it's down to 366. Same thing with the current surge of Frank Thomas. Why the Ricky Henderson surge like that, it's unknown, but right now Frank Thomas is doing kind of the same thing, but you can see how quickly the Henderson by Videz corrected down. So if you're looking for a Frank Thomas bin baller, I would probably wait right now. I would not pay $205 because a couple of weeks ago, you could have gotten that card for $145. And then looking at second player pricing here again, a ton of green, very few cards down. The Roberto Clemente Natural dropped 20%, but for the most part, a ton of green. But here is why I'm saying be careful on the Frank Thomas. If you look at George Brett from Mr. Cartoon, that card spiked with some weird sales, and now it's correcting back down. It's gone from 77 to 118 to 94. And then yesterday, somebody listed a crazy sale, buy it now at $55, and it was scooped up almost immediately. I wish I had seen that card actually. But just be careful out there when you see these prices spike like that. I would not rush to buy one just because we've seen this now happen 3 times, and immediately, almost a couple weeks later, the card corrects itself all the way back down. So it's unknown if there's buyer groups out there or someone saying go buy Frank Thomas or go buy George Brett. You know, who knows what that magic formula is. You know, we did see that with the Roberto Clemente, Mr. Cartoon, but that was because of the autograph. And as you can tell here now, artist-driven demand, and that card has obviously stayed there. But when you have these random blips, do not buy into that. Give it a few weeks and see what happens, because what we know from our history at the moment is these cards will go back down when they spike like this. Now, to correct the record a little bit, and this was stunning for me to realize last night at about 11:30 when I was doing the top 20 pricing and looking at all the data, I somehow forgot to include card 38, the Fucci Dwight Gooden, in the Forgotten 6. So the Forgotten 6 is actually the Forgotten 7, and I've added him back in to the tracking, and I apologize for this mistake. I triple check everything usually before I put it on the website, or at least on the show, and I somehow missed it here, so I do apologize about this. But let's take a quick look at the Forgotten 7 pricing from yesterday. 5 of the 7 cards moved up, and there was some good movement here. Roberto Clemente up 9%, Willie Mays up 8%, Bob Gibson up 7%. So some healthy movement overall. And by the way, if you're enjoying the look in at the pricing and you want to continue to find out the news and notes around week 17 for Project 2020, please hit that subscribe button. But now what I've also done with this data is then combined all 32 cards that are printed under 2000 and created a nice handy chart here you can see on the screen. This will be on the website, and it just shows you where the cards slot in value-wise when it comes to the print run. Now, just because a card is lower, it's the lowest printed, does not mean it's gonna be the most valuable. We know right now that card number 1 is the most valuable. At the same time, card number 32, the George Brett, is not necessarily always going to be the lowest value card on this. So it's just a cool reference chart. I don't know if you can peg value and say, well, this Old Man Allen card is lower than this card next to it. There's a couple different things to think about. You got first player, second player cards, third player cards, you got artists. There's a lot of things mixed into these numbers to balance it out. But it's going to be a cool thing to look at as we go through this set. And then when you look at long-term value of the set, 2021, 2022, it's going to be very interesting to see what really matters. Is it first player, second player, or that print number when it comes to the overall value? So now let's talk about the captain, and the captain being Derek Jeter, and this is designed by FDOT. This is a great card. At the same time, there are some great giveaways with this card. This is my number 1 card of the day, and if you buy this card on Topps.com, 2 lucky winners. One person's going to win a signed Derek Jeter by FDOT jersey, and the second person is going to win a 30 by 40 Crink marker artwork on canvas. So 2 great giveaways. So if I were you, jump onto Topps.com, pick up your card there. I would not use a pre-seller for this one. You're better off getting yourself a better opportunity to win this versus your pre-seller. So jump on there and get this card ordered. But let's take a look at FDOT real quick, and then Derek Jeter. This is FDOT's 8th artwork in this set so far. He led us off with Mark McGwire, then Willie Mays, Nolan Ryan, Ted Williams, recently with the Mr. Padre, Jackie Robinson, and then the moment card, the Dwight Gooden with the mask. When you think of his print runs, 31,030 for the Tony Gwynn, and his lowest is 1456. Now looking at Derek Jeter himself, this is also his 8th card. His first card was card 29, King Saladin, then Matt Taylor, Grotesque, Andrew Thiel, Gregory Siff, Ermsey, recently with the 64,000 Ben Baller, and now we have FDOT's interpretation of the captain. His lowest printed card is that Grotesque at 6,500. So when it comes to the favorite FDOT card and the favorite Derek Jeter, on Derek Jeter, it is the Grotesque. It's very simple. I love the design of Grotesque. But on FDOT, it is the Dwight Gooden. It is the mask, because that card is a moment in time, and it's going to be a card that we can look back on in 5, 10, 15, 30 years and know when that card was printed and what it means. At the same time, I did pick up that card signed by FDOT on his website, so I'm really looking forward to having that show up here in the next few months. So now taking a look at the cards that were released yesterday morning that are going to go off pre-sale this time tomorrow. We have Fucci with his Don Mattingly, and we have Matt Taylor with his Jackie Robinson. I got to give it to Fucci. Fucci has taken a lot of heat for this card, and someone on Instagram said, what is going on? And he said, I just wanted to do it. That is the beauty of this project. A lot of cards we're not going to agree with, but it's their artwork, it's their card, it's their determination to do what they want to with it. Andrew Thiel's cards to me are very busy, and then this Fucci was very simplistic. So I got to give it to him to do this pinstripe Don Mattingly. But this Mattingly came in with the lowest amount of pre-orders that I have seen in the past 6 weeks. Just 30 people pre-ordered this card last night on eBay, and then the Jackie Robinson had 49. When you look at 48-hour targets for these cards, I'm looking at 45 cards of pre-order for Don Mattingly and then 75 on the Jackie Robinson. Now here's where it gets tricky on a print run projection perspective. If for some reason nobody buys Don Mattingly and this comes in an eBay penetration of over 2%, we're looking at a print run here of 2,250. I don't think we're going to get that low with this card, but I really see this card being lower than the Jacob Rochester Nolan Ryan from last week. So right now, after one day, I'm putting my number at 3.25 to 4.25. This could be very, very low. I don't even think a Yankee bump is going to move this card that high. With only 30 pre-orders, it is bottom of the barrel, and I can't see how this card gets juiced up way over 4.25. But to me, I think right now this is a solid card in the mid-3 range. And now on the Jackie Robinson, when you look at 75, 80 pre-orders within 48 hours, we have seen this story before. There are countless cards at that range we've seen over 48 hours. So for me on this print run range, it's going to be 5.5 to 6.5. I don't know if it gets to 6. That's a lot of cards now. We think back to Griffey. We think back to Ichiro from last week. Those were some healthy numbers in the current environment. But I like right now 5.5 to 6.5. If for some reason this card spikes today on pre-orders, I could see it getting over 6 easily, but we will find out tomorrow morning. But right now, I like my range of 5.5 to 6.5. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you want more news and notes from me, please check out that playlist on the screen right now.